going on, brother?
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm chilling, man. You know, same old, same old. All right, man.
Yeah, I got something on my mind, man. I got something on my mind.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you talk about.
Let's talk about it. Yeah. Well, so in the news a couple of days ago, there was a story about this guy named Hervis Rogers. He's a black man, 62 years old, lives in Houston, Texas, and he was arrested a couple of days ago for voter fraud. And
Yeah,
I started looking into
I'm
the
familiar.
circumstances of it. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So the thing that I was putting together in my mind, well, actually, okay, let's back up to 2007 because there was something happened in 2007 in the state of Texas. Rick Perry was the governor in 2007.
Okay.
So there was a bill that I wrote it down. HB 770 2007 came up, and what that bill required was that the Texas Department of Corrections would be required to notify parolees once they're eligible to vote, and they would ask that it would require that they be sent a voter registration card. So their end of the parole period's over, and it was just a bill that said they need to be notified that they're now eligible to vote and sent a voter registration card. That's what the bill asked.
Okay, so real quick before you keep going. So this bill, it was a recent bill that just came up, or has this already been?
It was 2007 when Rick Perry was the governor. So 2007, so a long time ago, 14 years ago.
This bill was passed or it came up?
The bill was passed by the House, passed by the Senate. It went through the committee. And this is, you know, that you and I have had some interactions with at the Texas Capitol, and we know what it's like to get a bill through, right?
Yeah.
It's hard. You got to go through
yeah.
the committee hearings. You got to get your sponsors.
Multiple committee hearings,
multiple committee hearings, and then it gets read on the House floor and gets voted on. And so I'm aware of what it takes to get a bill through the Texas legislature.
Exactly.
And I know that issues don't go this far. They don't get up to the governor's desk unless the governor's office has been involved all along. You can't get, though this is a Republican-controlled Senate, Republican-controlled House, okay?
Okay.
So they control both houses of the chamber and the governor's chair, the governor's seat also. So this bill comes to Governor Perry's desk after it's gone through all this process. And like I said, bills don't get this far unless the governor's office has been involved. Or else if they know the governor's going to veto it already, they don't go through all the trouble, right?
100%, yeah.
So it gets up to the governor's office and he vetoes it. So remember the whole idea about governing and bills that come, they're supposed to solve problems. There's a problem out there, and then they introduce a bill that's supposed to solve that problem. So there was a problem with parolees not knowing when they were eligible to vote, right? So evidently somebody brought this to the attention of one of the representatives in the House, and he filed the bill as a one-page bill. It's real simple. It just says Texas Department of Corrections needs to notify, and it was under the Elections Act or something like that. Anyway, Rick Perry vetoes it, and then he issues some statement about why he vetoed it.
Yeah.
All right. So that's in 2007. His reasons for vetoing it were weak, for sure. Like he said something like, why are we giving inmates special treatment? We don't tell high school graduates they're eligible to vote. Why would we go to, and I'm like, wait a minute. There's no problem there. You're not solving a problem. We have a problem with this issue of former inmates being eligible to vote, but having a lack of information around it so that they don't get into trouble and they follow the rules, right?
100%, yeah.
Okay. So go forward to this article from a couple of days ago. We get this guy, Hervis Rogers, that's arrested because he voted when he was a couple of months shy of being eligible to vote. So his circumstances, just real quick. He was in jail for burglary. He was sentenced to 25 years in jail for burglary.
Jesus, okay.
All right. So he served 9 years, and then he's got the rest of that 25 years on probation. So he knows in his head that 2020 comes and he's going to be eligible to vote again, but he doesn't know exactly where. So he votes in the Democratic primary. And he was notable. He kind of caught his 15 minutes of fame because he was waiting in line to vote for 6 hours. Come on, man. First of all, that's a problem. He has to wait in line for 6 hours, right? I mean, if any Trump supporter had to wait in line for 6 hours to vote, I mean, there would be a lot of noise being made about that. But anyway, I don't get distracted by that.
Are we're talking about the general 2020 election? This isn't like a primary.
We're talking about the primary.
Primary.
It wasn't even Biden versus. It was
okay.
It was Sanders and Buttigieg and you know those
in Texas, right?
All that stuff in Texas, yeah.
Okay.
And Beto O'Rourke and stuff. So it was the primary. Hillary Clinton, whatever. Not Hillary. Was that the Hillary?
You were already on your way out the door.
I was already on the other.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
All right. That's right. Not Hillary. Hillary was 4 years earlier. Okay, never mind. Hillary's still in the woods. I'm sorry. Yeah. All right, but anyway, so there was a CNN news crew that was there, and he ended up being the last person to vote at that precinct. So he waited for 6 hours. It's kind of a feel-good story, you know. And they interviewed him. Okay,
so local. Now, it's a quick local news, you know, blip kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of a local news blip, but it was a CNN crew, so I think they actually showed it on CNN. It gets a little attention.
Yeah.
But now he gets arrested because he wasn't eligible to vote. So the Attorney General, Ken Paxton, the Attorney General for in Texas, he is all about voter fraud. So he's like, we're going to go after this guy. They're going to go after this guy, but. That is par for the course, right? The thing that I've noticed and the thing that I think needs attention brought to it is the coordinated effort between the Attorney General's office and the governor's office and the legislature and all those conservative leaders. What I'm seeing is that they are declaring war. They're declaring war on voters, democracy, and what I'm seeing, you know, if you go to war, you got a battle plan and you're going to attack on multiple fronts at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. So the same week that this special session is called and all this noise about the Republicans advocating more restrictions on voting, the Democrats defending and wanting to expand voting. So in the middle of all this, Ken Paxton thinks it's a good idea, Attorney General for the state of Texas, it's a good idea to go after Hervis Rogers. And so he's got a potential of 20 years in jail and a fine and all this stuff.
Damn.
And so it's just got me a little bit hot. Got me a little bit hot.
So all through I'm hearing this, man, this story definitely triggered me just now, man, especially with, I want to back up to, all right, so he was sentenced to 25 years and he only served, you said 9?
He served 9.
And
he was sentenced for burglary, yeah.
And sent the rest of that on probation? Like the rest of the 25 years?
That's right.
Oh, my God. All right, so that, first of all, he's the realest for even making it through, man. Like, that's, you know, I understand why he wanted to go vote, man. Like, you know, like that's 1 foot in, 1 foot. You're basically not even free when you're on probation, right? You know what I'm saying? You have so many restrictions. You can't really even, you know what I'm saying, travel the country freely, right? So, you know, I was on had a very similar situation. It wasn't nowhere near as long. And man, it's crazy, bro. Like that first part is like, it definitely has my anxiety on 10. I'm like, God, 25, man, you know, like it makes, you know, like the restlessness that I feel, you know, from it. Right. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I don't know, man, it's crazy. And then, like you said, there's a video, I probably we'll link it, and it should pop up now. We'll link a video by a dude named Internet Historian. I told you about it. I don't know if you checked it out, but it was about the balloon boy incident. Do you remember that?
Yeah. How do you see that connected? So
it rings very true with the whole. There is a aspect of careerism, kind of like the, you know, it seems like people are trying to, you know, make, like I said, not only go to war, but like literally jumpstart their, you know, political careers, or just, you know, make certain waves in certain areas, you know, via this story, off of this man's back, if that makes sense. Kind of like they did with that father. You know, if you check out like I said, the video, you'll see it goes into detail with the incident that was pretty infamous back in the day, and really how it all seems to be a huge ploy to get, you know, for political clout, basically, right? It seems like this is, for the Republican side, just a big thing about, you know, political clout. Like, let's ruin these people's lives to kind of, you know what I'm saying, gin up our support from these people, so that way we can, like you said, lock down these sectors even further, completely knock out the voter stuff. And something that really pisses me off, to be honest, the more I think about it, back then when this was happening, man, this was, with, like I said, this problem with the left in general, like, I'm in Texas. I'm in Austin right now, right? You know what I'm saying? I've been in Texas my whole life, right? And they've been doing this. This ain't nothing new. They've been, chipping away at, there was a reason he was in line for 6 hours, is because they, early, since 2012, they were really, since Obama got in office, they were slowly, getting rid of all the voting areas in Texas under Democrats, under Trump, under Obama. It was, barely any news on any, anybody talking about it when it comes to left, right. Nobody cared, you know what I'm saying? And it's because like, there is that whole kind of almost like a coastal elitist thing that, that they don't see, that, our quote unquote allies don't see, you know what I mean? Like they don't notice that they're, very, they think of, Texas like, oh, it's a lost cause. It's nothing but, racist, white people. It's like, no, there's a huge black population down here, first of all. Saying secondly, like, this is, there's a lot of, there's a lot of political clout as far as the black community here that gets, a lot of support in other areas, even the same thing in Atlanta. And it's just, there's, when it comes to the actual problems, it's only like, Malcolm X said, like they only come through when, in times of election, like when it's, when the midterms come up.
That's right.
Yeah, when the midterms come up and stuff, you'll see them all in the neighborhoods. You'll see them all on TV. You'll see them on the Breakfast Club again. Hey, mark my words, man. I was watching the Breakfast Club. When's the last time you seen a politician on Breakfast Club? I can tell you, it was in the primaries. I saw, I think Pete was on Breakfast Club. Kamala Harris was on Breakfast Club. Bernie, I think, went on Breakfast Club. All these people went on the Breakfast Club, and
now gone.
What it? Ain't been on since, you know what I mean? Like, they ain't have these people on, and it's just, I don't know. And shame on the Breakfast Club for platforming these people who obviously only come at these times. And, when it comes to like right now, we have a black vice president and ain't nothing moving for black issues. And, people like Hervis, half black. Exactly. Right. Let
me tell you something else. Let me just kind of like the kicker of it for me is, if you think that it doesn't take much to realize how big a part racism is in this equation.
Yeah. Because
if you just ask yourself, if Hervis Rogers had been white and a Trump supporter, what do you think? Would they go after him? Would they arrest him and charge him with this?
No, of course not.
Well,
and the big thing.
Well, just maybe there actually have been some Trump supporters that have been charged with stuff. And let me tell you about two other cases. There was a woman named Crystal Mason, and she was arrested in 2016 for voting. And both of these characters are black. Crystal Mason, Hervis Rogers, they're black, and they voted not knowing exactly where they were related to their eligibility. She was also getting off parole around that time. There was an issue with that, right? So remember that bill back in 2007 that was going to solve this problem? And don't you think that, I always like to look at that human element in there. Imagine Rick Perry there and the political consultant coming over to him and reviewing the papers he's going to sign. And the political consultant says, if you sign this, you're just going to aid the Democratic Party. Everybody that's coming off parole, like most of them coming off parole, are going to be minorities, and they're not going to vote for Republicans. You need to veto this. Political calculation right there. Yeah, exactly. And the 100%. consequences of that later, all these years later, are these well-meaning folks that are being absolutely railroaded by the system to punish anybody who thinks about, voting for voting like a normal person. If they're black, hey, there's going to be trouble for you, and we're going to ruin your life. We're going to come at you with, you're going to make you legal expense. Hervis Rogers has a GoFundMe page. If anybody can chip in, Hervis Rogers. Even Crystal Mason too. Crystal Mason's still embroiled in. Her case is on appeal. She's still got legal bills too, man. Donate to Crystal Mason. Okay, wait, real quick. There was another guy that was pretended to be his dead mother, wanted to vote for Trump. So he wanted to vote twice. He wanted to vote for himself. He wanted to vote as his dead mother.
Yeah.
So he also got caught.
Yeah.
He got caught, but he was given 5 years of probation.
Of course.
So no jail time.
Yeah.
Crystal Mason, 5 years in jail. And you know what the judge said? He said, we need to make an example of people when it comes to voting fraud. She was unaware. She was completely like, in fact, she had some neighbors that were trying to help her vote.
Yeah,
some white neighbors are trying to help her vote. It came in later and testified against her. These white neighbors that were trying to help her initially. This case all gets going, and next thing you know, her neighbors down the street are like, she filled out the form, and I guess she didn't read it. Just like, come on, man, come on.
Well, that's the point I really want to hammer home when it comes to like not black people and when it's the making an example of that's through history. That's kind of been the it's make sure you make sure that they're compliant and when I look at situations like this, because my mind automatically goes to, okay, so this is the problem. What's the solution for real? Like, let's all the BS aside. How do we truly solve Hervis Rogers' situation? If we could, right now, we both agreed.
Let me guess.
Right now, right? No, right? I don't know. Okay. I want to work through it with you, right? I want to work through it because I don't. Let's work through it right now. I don't think that there's anything politically, like we're in Texas. The Republicans have the power. There's nothing we can do on a policy front, in my opinion, right now. We're not going to get any policies.
I think I know where you're going, Marty. Yeah, Marty. I think I know where you're going. Let me add something else that's going to contribute to what you're saying.
Okay.
He went to jail initially for burglary. Mm-hmm. Why do people steal?
Exactly.
Because they don't have money. They don't have money. They don't want to steal. No, people don't want to steal if they have options.
I agree.
Right? He's up against the wall, man. He's up against the wall, and he ends up, he's trying to survive, and he's robbing people. He's burglarizing people. He should be punished for that. But he should also he should also have some options, so he doesn't get in that situation. But anyway,
I agree. But that actually gets into an interesting conversation. I think the left doesn't have either about the justice system. Like, what is justice, man? Like, and this is, we'll end it here. I just want to, kind of just put this out there and kind of, make you think about, I was thinking about the idea of the justice system, and really what it seems like is it's just all about revenge. Like, I don't, like if there is no recourse for actual, like somebody like me who was messing up and out there in the streets, you know what I mean? Like, and if I rob somebody and I get locked up, there's no mechanisms trying to help me to, actually develop a sense of community, anything. There's no routes to actually do better. So it seems like all that is the quote unquote justice system is about is revenge. Like this person you wrong wants revenge, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like that's, and is that the system that we want to have, set up, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think, I think my personal opinion, when I look at the quote unquote justice system, I look at it as basically, it's like, it seems like this is more about revenge because, this isn't addressing the underlying problems for most people, why they're doing certain things, right? You know what I mean? If that was the actual, whatever system that is a justice system, right? You know what I mean? To figure out, you know what I mean?
Clearly way off the mark. Our justice system is way off the mark as it stands now.
And I'm gonna stand on that now. I may be saying, screw prisons. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, should people be, quote unquote punished for what they did wrong? I don't know about any of that, man, because not everybody is punished for what they do wrong. Like, I don't think, I'm not on team, saying these poor people need to be punished if this guy who can, literally, these people who work at banks can steal people's homes and get no punishment for it, literally get, new positions, then I'm on team. Maybe we shouldn't punish that guy either. You know what I'm saying? For real. You know what I mean? Like, the more I think about it, I'm like, nah, I'm getting more radicalized. The more I think about it by the day, I'm like, nah, man, that make no sense.
Wait, what are you saying? You're saying that you're basically saying that we need to come up with an alternative to just jailing people. If somebody does something wrong, 100%, it needs to be addressed in a completely different way.
Yeah. So, and some situations, like, look at it like this, right? Like, a lot of times we think about, the quote unquote justice system is really just based on revenge and getting back at the person who wronged you. It's not based on making sure this doesn't happen in society. That's not the goal, truly, and if it was, there would be, things would be a lot more case by case basis. You would see somebody in a certain situation, like, it may be one case, this guy's completely insane, he needs to be away from society. Cool. The next case may be the exact same crime, but this guy actually has some situational issues in his life that if are rectified, he would be a productive member of society. Nobody, instead of, taking him them to jail and putting them away from society, you know what I'm saying? Yes, the quote unquote family who's hurt may be hurt, but if it benefits society more so to not jail this person and put them on a route this way, you know what I'm saying? Get what I mean? How, you know, justice isn't really about, it's more important is revenge than actual, actually making change.
Well,
you know what I mean?
And it's about jailing minorities too.
Of course. Yeah. I'm not saying, you know, just the whole, you know, yeah, just it's definitely so. The profit motive of it, that's the biggest issue of our judicial, any system is you know, profit. When everything is about money, it can't be,
you know what I was thinking about
based, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely true. I was even thinking about not just the prison system and the guards and all that stuff that are paid with taxpayer money to watch over inmates, but also like public defenders,
100%.
All the people in the office, down at the courtyard, the court recorder, the judges. This whole system is built up around stenographers, all this stuff. This whole system is built up, and people are not getting rich off of it, but they're depending on this system for their livelihood. They're depending on this system to not change so that they don't lose their jobs and they can continue to go to work and feed their family and send their kids to school. It's we've trapped ourselves in a broken system, and people like Hervis Rogers and Crystal Mason and many others are going to be be victimized over and over again by this system.
Yeah,
and people like him, people that look like them.
Agreed. And at the end of the day, this won't change until people just stop taking it. You know what I mean? Until people actually make decisions that actually affect these people. You know, the people in power. Things won't change.
No, for sure. Well, just I guess we can wrap up. I mean, stay strong, Hervis Rogers, Crystal Mason, everybody else that is trying to participate in this democratic process.
We'll link their GoFundMe in this too. So.
And just know that this is, you know, the GOP is declaring war in Texas. And it's not just the GOP. Remember, all these people talk. They all talk. They're on emails. They're on their little conference calls all over the country. The GOP
Democrats
is trying to pass
they're doing too. As these lobbyists come into those back doors and stuff, they're all in the same building. They know what's going on back there, man. They had ideas that this was going on. They choose to focus on what they focus on. They choose to focus on these whatever, man. I get into it, man.
Absolutely. The attorney general has discretion. He can choose what to charge, if to charge. I mean, why don't they just give Hervis Rogers a warning? Why don't they just give him a warning? Say, hey, we notice this. Your vote's not going to count this cycle. I mean, it could be handled in so many different ways. And if anybody wants to see what racism looks like, they can look at a case like this, and it's just glaringly obvious.
100%. Well, appreciate you, man. And man, y'all make sure y'all check out Hervis Rogers. GoFundMe again, man. And
Crystal Mason too, man. A couple of heroes that are trying to do their part to participate in democracy, and are being metaphorically lynched so that others in their neighborhoods go to the polls with a little fear in their hearts, and that's not the way it should be.
Oh, before we get out of here, I did see I guess update. I just now remembered. Democrats did flee the state to try not to sign. I don't know if you saw that just happened.
Of course.
So they wouldn't be in session. But again, it's not like this is out the blue. Like I said, they're all in the same room. These stories, like I told you, when they were chopping off all the voting booths and all that stuff around Texas, it started back in 2012, man. You know what I'm saying? None of this is new. You know what I'm saying? These things have been happening. So yeah. I just want to add that in, I guess, as a caveat, because I don't know. People always try to, for whatever reason, people always caping for people. It's just like, well, they're trying their hardest. It's like, no, you try your hardest. These people don't. You know what I mean? They ain't trying nothing. You know what I mean? Whatever. But it's all good. I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah.
No, they declared war, and we got to recognize that and be ready to fight back, metaphorically, of course. Yeah.
Agreed, man. And we can't wait on elected people to do it, man. So that's it.
Okay.
Yo, you like what you just saw? Make sure you like, share, subscribe so the algorithms can algorithm or whatever sorcery they do. Follow us on our socials. Links all down in the description. And let's keep rocking.